Right now, there are over 8.1 billion people on Earth. Every city, every forest, every ocean is shaped by our presence. But what if, in the blink of an eye, humanity simply disappeared? No wars, no migration, no warning, just gone. Scientists estimate that without human activity, Earth would begin changing within hours. Stay with me, because the timeline of what follows is more surprising and more terrifying than you might think. In the first day after humans vanish, the most obvious sign wouldn't be silence, it would be chaos. Subways would flood as pumps stop running, airplanes already in flight would crash without pilots, and power plants would begin shutting down. Across the globe, city skylines would slowly start going dark. The world we built in 200 years of industrial growth would begin to crumble almost immediately. By the end of the first week, pets and livestock would be struggling. Billions of chickens, cows, and dogs dependent on humans for food and water would die or break free in search of survival. Nuclear power plants without supervision would go into meltdown within days, releasing radiation. Yet strangely, some ecosystems would breathe again. Skies over polluted cities like Delhi, Lagos, or Los Angeles would clear to a blue most people alive have never seen. After a month, household fires would burn themselves out, but nature would begin reclaiming our homes. Rats and cockroaches, once thriving off our waste, would see population crashes. Wolves, bears, and big cats would return to abandoned suburbs. In African cities like Nairobi, lions from nearby reserves might even wander into shopping malls. The wild would not ask permission, it would simply take back what's always been theirs. Within a year, vegetation would break through roads and concrete. Without regular maintenance, dams would burst, flooding towns downstream. Steel bridges would begin rusting, and satellites orbiting above us would fall back to Earth as their orbits decayed. For the first time since 1957, the night sky would no longer sparkle with artificial lights, just stars, as our ancestors saw them. 10 years later, forests would reclaim major highways like the I-95 in the US or the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Elephants in Asia would expand beyond shrinking reserves. Coral reefs damaged by overfishing would thrive again. But our absence would also mean disasters. Chemical plants leaking toxins, oil wells spilling into seas, and nuclear waste storage sites breaking down. Earth would heal, but not without scars. 50 years without us, nature would dominate again. Skyscrapers would collapse under the weight of vegetation and rust. Cities like Dubai and New York would be swallowed by desert sands and forests. The Hoover Dam would still stand strong, but most concrete structures would crumble. Only stone monuments, the pyramids, the Great Wall of China, and possibly Mount Rushmore would still hint that humanity was here. After a century, wild animals would rule the world. In North America, bison herds would roam free again. In Africa, elephants and rhinos would dominate savannas unchecked. Urban centers like London, Tokyo, and Lagos would vanish under forests. Climate change, however, would still echo our presence. Melting ice sheets and rising seas would flood coastal cities that once held millions. 1,000 years later, most of our creations would be gone. Steel, glass, and plastic would decay. But some things would outlast us: underground tunnels, ceramics, and radioactive isotopes. Mount Rushmore's faces might still stare down from granite cliffs, and some plastic, bottles and bags, would remain buried in the soil, a toxic reminder of our time here. After 10,000 years, Earth would look almost untouched. Rainforests, tundra, and deserts would expand freely. The oceans would erase coastlines of our old cities. Yet one sign of us would remain: our nuclear waste, still dangerous. And buried deep in the soil, the remnants of our plastics and metals would confuse future species, perhaps the next intelligent life that evolves. Fast forward 1,000,000 years, and human civilization would be almost invisible. Continental drift would bury cities. Mountains would rise and erode. Yet a few relics might survive: the pyramids of Giza, some space probes drifting in the solar system, and Voyager 1 still carrying its golden record. Long after we're gone, our voices, etched into space, may be the last whisper of humanity. So, what if humans suddenly vanished? Earth would collapse into chaos, then heal, then erase us. Nature doesn't need us, but we desperately need it. That's the haunting lesson. As you picture vines crawling over skyscrapers and lions prowling through empty cities, ask yourself, what legacy are we leaving behind? If this gave you chills, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, let's keep exploring the biggest what ifs that shape our future and our place in the universe.